We're about to get started in a minute. I'm just looking for the list of the ones that we've already done, and I can't find it. No bueno. All right, so let me look. Let me see. There we go. Okay, that's why. Okay, got it. All right, so while we wait for a couple more people to pull up, let's go ahead and let's open a Word doc because we're going to need that. We're going to need a Word doc. We're going to need our applications. So if you have the grant list, it's going to be application 75 and it's going to be 42. Those are the two that we're going through today. If you don't have it, you need to go to the link in my bio, go to funding opportunities list, and that's what you're going to grab to get the list of opportunities, all right? So you also need to open up a Word doc because we save all of the answers that we do, right? So let's go ahead and open a Word doc so that we can get that started. And then once I tally this up, all right, this was May. All right, this was May 3rd. All right, so then this is Amazon. Today is what? The 9th, May 9th, 2023. All right, once I do that, let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna grab the link. Okay, so that's one, and then the other one is, I have to pull up the other one second. No problem at all. It's not a problem. I've realized that this has been super helpful and I'm just happy that it is. So if you guys need additional support, we've been offering it. So for sure, definitely reach out, all right? So just want to see one thing. Let me see. Okay, so these are 10,000. All right, so let me grab this link. All right. So in the meantime, we're going to like literally start in 2 minutes. In the meantime, let's grab a Word doc. Verizon Digital ready. And then this one is 10,000. All right. And then we'll total what we've done so far. Total to date. All right. If you're just joining us, there is a link in my bio that says funding opportunities list. That is what you're going to be referencing so that you can grab those opportunities. All right. And then right now what I'm doing is I'm just going to tally up the amount that we've done in applications because we are doing a numbers game, right? So we need to know how many applications we're going to be doing. And that's going to help inform how much applications we need to kind of do on the back end. So let's do that math. All right, calculator, because I don't have my other phone with me. All right, so to date, we've done 1,451,750. So we're gonna add 20,000 to that. All right, that's 20,000, yes, plus, and then that's another 40,000. And that's really a base number because this opportunity is a cash prize of 38,000, and then there's another cash prize as well, but I don't know how to calculate that because it's kind of weird. So then this is another 35,000. 35,000. Yes. So we're up to 1.5 million now in applications, all right? So 1.5, 1,546,750, all right? Someone has to win, right? All of us are not going to win, granted, but one of us out of all of us have to win. So if we're positioning our businesses correctly, we're getting all the information we need to get in, we're doing our numbers, we're positioning ourselves, out of all the applications that we've done, somebody has to win, right? So the more we put in, the more we increase our chances. And that's how we play this. So let's go ahead, and if you don't have the list yet, go to the funding opportunities list in the link in the bio, and that's how you're going to grab these links, okay? I'll be right back. Sorry about that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. So the first one is the just have to moisturize. So the first one we're gonna do is the Amazon Small Business Grant. So if you're on the email list, which is why I think it's super important to grab that list, is that you will get updates, regular updates from me about when that list is updated, and you'll also get insights into when, like things like this, because this application actually requires that you have a small business account. All right. You don't have to have Prime. You don't have to have all the other stuff, but you do have to have a small business account, right? That's fine. You might not be able to access that right now, but as we go through the application, log your answers, listen to what the questions are, log your answers so that when you do apply for this Amazon Small Business account, you can go ahead and fill this one out, all right? And this application is not due until the 21st of May, so you have time, so don't worry about it, all right? And for anyone that's new here, you can catch the replay. There's like a replay button in my link, in my bio. You can catch the replay if you want, and then there's also an option for the higher tier to be able to have your application submitted for someone to review it within 72 hours, all right? So don't worry too much about like, oh, I don't have an account yet, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about that. All right. So this one is for May 21st. All right. So there's still a good amount of time. Okay. So this is it says that one of the requirements is that you have an existing Amazon business account. The application opened May 2nd. Perfect. Limit one application per account for eligible business throughout the contest period. Let's read more about the eligibility requirements. And just for anyone who's new here, we do not read eligibility requirements to disqualify ourselves. We just want to know what they're either looking for, and we want to know how we kind of fit into that schema. But we're not reading it like, oh, I don't fit into this, I don't fit into that. So we don't look at it that way, all right? Just kind of like, just to understand where we're coming from. So one thing is that they are looking for people to be part of the 50 United States and the District of Columbia, right? To apply, they want you to be at least 18 years or older. They want you to have a business account, which is important because they won't even let you open the application if you don't. You won't be able to see the link, which is what a lot of us had this issue where we weren't able to see the link before. So that is actually like a requirement. You will not be able to see the link if you don't have that account. They want that you have a brand owner of a small size business, right? So everyone defines small differently, but we can talk about that, see if they've like outlined that in some way. Of course, you have to do it by the deadline. And then they don't want you not open to independent contractors or anyone who's an immediate partner or affiliate in some way of Amazon or Amazon services, all right? if you are going to apply for this one, at some point you will need to furnish proof of business registration with the U.S. Small Business Administration or some equal award, right? So that means that you're going to have to be able to prove that you are a legitimate business. That's fair, right? Because they don't want to give money to businesses that are not legitimate. Sponsor reserves the right to disqualify eligible business and recover or revoke any applicable rewards provided. That is also pretty standard. So if for some reason you do not do what you say you're going to do with the funds, or they determine that you are not a viable candidate at some point in time, you might end up owing that money back. So just kind of like proceed with caution with this application, all right? Sponsor reserves the right to disqualify you, blah, blah, blah. All right. How to participate. Got to get the application in before midnight on the 21st. Let's see. One application. If you tell them it's lost, misdirected, late, incomplete, whatever, it doesn't count. Okay, this is what we really need to know. Initial judging phase. Ability of application to provide a business mission or vision that is clear and compelling. Hey, Dr. AJ, welcome back, dear. Okay, ability of application to provide a business mission or vision that is clear and compelling. So, for example, Dr. AJ, she's been with us for a little bit. We know that is something that we got to do. We got to be compelling and we got to be clear about what we do as a business, right? So that's what we're going to walk through today. We're going to talk about how to be compelling and clear about what it is that we do, who we are, and who we serve, right? Does the business help solve a customer problem? Yes, we do. And we're going to be able to articulate that by the time we get off this live, all right? Clear plan within the application outlining how applicant of an award would assist in business expansion. We're going to talk about that too, because that's what we're here for. So once we get through the application, you should be able to articulate and clearly state what you're going to do with those funds, all right? Applicants' ability to demonstrate innovation in the form of a product or service offered, or how to solve business problems, and demonstration of business giving back to their applicable community. All right, so community is going to be a buzzword that we're going to just pay attention to, because that's going to be important to them, right? So that's why we read these requirements, because we're not disqualifying ourselves. We just want to understand what's important to them. So they mention community. We want to know community. If they mention sustainability, that wouldn't really be relevant to me. So I'm like, do I really want to apply for this one? Because I would really disqualify myself. I'm just not what they're looking for, right? Would I still apply? Probably. Maybe I might be the best applicant out of all the applicants that applied. But so we're looking for, like, when you read these requirements, you're looking for buzzwords that help you understand what's important to the grantor, not necessarily, again, to disqualify yourself. But community is one buzzword that we're going to be paying attention to, because that's something that we are going to place an emphasis on in this, all right? When I say place an emphasis, I just want to be clear for anybody who's just joining us. We are not lying. We are going to just find ways to articulate what it is that we either are doing or plan on doing for our community. So when you're thinking about these things, I want you to be cognizant and be real with yourself about what it is that you can do or plan on doing for your community, all right? Don't fudge this, because, again, if you don't do these things, you will be held responsible for those funds, all right? So that's that. Eligible business with the highest scores will be deemed potential semifinalists. Potential semifinalists subject to verification and compliance with these official rules. In the event of a tie, the tie will be broken by a separate additional judge who will score the tied application solely on rating the brand on differentiation and the rating brand's differentiation within industry scale of 1 through 10. All right. Semifinalists will be notified using the contact information submitted when you created your Amazon business account. Each potential semifinalist will be required to sign and return an affidavit of eligibility and liability publicity release as requested by sponsor. And then if you don't return those, you are pretty much determining yourself ineligible. There's a voting phase through June 15th. The award there's 3 different awards, which is great, because that means there's multiple winners, so that even increases your chance more. All right, so if you want, you can go through the rest of these. I'm not going through the rest of them, but you can go through the rest of these. I would suggest that you do, just to see if there's anything else that kind of stands out to you. But for anyone who has the application up, and you got the email Sunday, you got the email Sunday, you were able to get into your account, let me know so we can get started. But I want to do something a little bit different today. Who has the application up and is ready to go? Okay, awesome. So, Shari, would you be willing to, I don't know where you are right now. You might be at work. I know it's noon. You might be at work. I'm not sure if you're in a position to like just hop on and talk, but I want to walk through your application with you and do your business application. And then I'll just give a couple points that could be generalized, but I want to walk with your application, through your application with you point for point, if you'd be willing. Or if you can. And if Shari can't, just let me know who else would be willing, because we have one more application to do too. So, girl, if you don't get to a charger, which one are we doing? Okay, so right now if you don't have the list already, go grab the funding opportunity list in the link in my bio. That's going to have all the opportunities that we're ever going to reference, right? So you can just grab that before we get started, anytime we go live. But just for now, we're doing the Amazon small business one. Being on that list is beneficial because you want to get ahead of things like this, where I'm letting you know you need to sign up for an account. So I let everybody know on Sunday, got to sign up for an account, got to have a small business account before you do. And there was like a waiting period for Amazon. But you could still hang around, listen to the answers, listen to the questions, jot them down so that you know when the 21st rolls around that you can get your how to answer your questions. Okay, let me see if I can put my son away real quick. Okay. And then which one are you going over? It just came in. Grants for CDL at work. Here later. I'm here later. I can see it later, I hope. Yeah, so if you want to see this actual replay later on today, all you have to do is click on live replays later on and you can grab that. So there's two different tiers. The first tier is just to watch it. The second tier, you can watch it. And then there's a bunch of other goodies in there. There's like a follow-up template. There's like, you can get your application looked at, up to 3 applications every month looked at before you submit them. So there's a bunch of different ones if you want to do that. All right. What grant are we working on today? We are doing the Amazon application, and welcome back. All right. Let me know when you're ready, Shari. All right, so and some of these questions, I'm gonna go ahead and answer some of these before Shari comes on anyway, because some of these are kind of like preliminary things. So the first question is gonna be asking you, how did you hear about Amazon Business? So I can put my son away, sorry. Okay, no problem. So is there anyone else who wants to hop on and get their questions answered specifically for their business that has this application open? We can walk through it for your business. By the time you're done, you'll be able to go ahead and click apply right now, unless there's like a video requirement or something. Find this grant list. It's in the link in my bio, and it says grant funding opportunities list. And once you sign up, you'll get an email immediately. Does anybody else want to walk through the application themselves? If you guys don't, I can do it. But I just wanted to try to do something different, see if I could like give a more direct help. But thank you, Lachey. I wanted to see if, no problem. So I wanted to see if I could give you more direct help. But if not, then that's fine. I can also walk through the answers too. Please walk through. I can. All right. So go ahead. Yeah. So let's get on live. I'm going to go ahead. If you can go ahead and request that we can talk, then please let's go ahead and do it, and I'll accept the invite, and then we can go through the application for your business. And I'll still give general answers that everyone else can use while she's getting her answers together and stuff. All right. You can go through, but I can't join. Got you. Okay. So it doesn't seem like anyone can join today. So I'm just going to go through the answers. How did you hear about Amazon Business? I've been asking everyone whenever you guys are going through an application and you hear it from me, if you can put mental money in the answer box, because it does help us be able to build and forge other relationships with brands. I don't know if Amazon will ever forge a relationship with us, but maybe they will one day. Someone actually reached out to me about the applications recently. So it does really help when you put that you heard it from us if you did. So if you put mental money in that box, that would be greatly appreciated, okay? For where you heard about the application, all right? Mental Money Podcast. And that would be this platform here, all right? The second question is, what was your annual revenue in 2022? They're giving ranges, so you can go ahead and answer the range that's appropriate for you. How many employees do you have? Solopreneur would suggest that it's just you. And then less than 25, I'm sure you guys can answer the rest of these answers for you. Just put whatever's appropriate and relevant to you. Number 4 is asking, is your company based in the United States of America? I'm assuming all of us will say yes. And that is one of the requirements, the base requirements for this application. All right. And then moving on to number 5, there's a little bit of a blurb at the top that says, for questions 5 through 10, please do not include any personal identifying information. Please keep your answers as close to 200 characters as possible. Please note when evaluating, some questions are weighted more than others. They're not telling you which ones are weighted more than others. They're just saying that they are, right? So, we have our Word doc open, right? Because we do that for every application. Let's go ahead and start saving some of these answers. So question 5, let's copy it, and then we'll paste it into our Word doc so we can formulate our answer. So we're going to title the document Amazon Small Business Grant. And then question 5, why did you start your business? Right? All right. And then remember to save, because I'm a culprit of that. So I'll be the first one to tell you I'll forget to save all along the way. All right. Why did you start your business? So this question is asking you about your experience, the experience that kind of was the spark behind the brand, or the spark behind the idea. Now this question, what they really want to know is more so about the market opportunity that you either saw, or even something that you might have experienced that led to the market opportunity that you're now trying to capture, or maybe something that you experienced that's allowing you to be able to serve or solve a problem for your consumer. Okay. So for example, give me a business that an industry that you're in. All right. I need your industry. Do you have a specific time that you come on? I usually don't see you until you're halfway through. Okay. Well, we just started 25 minutes ago. We're just starting with this application. And whenever I start, I usually start at 12 and I don't end until 2 unless there's some reason why we end earlier. So, and then I usually announce it. Well, I started announcing it via email, but I usually announce it on the page before I go live that day. All right. So anyone can share an industry, fashion consultant. Okay, let's go with fashion consultant for Shari. So why did you start your business? So the industry technically is fashion, all right? So why did you start your business? Fashion, if we're talking about the industry, the problem that you're solving for your consumer, fashion could be a number of things, right? Why did you start? Maybe your fashion, maybe the market issue that you saw was that there was a disparity in fashion inclusion. Well, that's what we'll call the problem, right? Why did you start your business? I'm just going to use myself as an example because I'm considered plus size, right? So as a plus size woman, if I was in the fashion industry, I would say as a plus size woman, I realized that there was a lack of accessibility for stylish clothing within the fashion industry. And with a desire to start having more inclusion, I decided to access this point in the market, right? And then now you can go into a little bit. And when I say a little bit, don't go too numbers heavy. I will go into a little bit about the details that support why this is or the total accessible market, right? So they want to know how big this problem really is. Because everything and we talk about this every single time we get on live. Every single thing you say in these applications, we are going to quantify in some way because that's how businesses know whether something's going to be profitable or not. Why did you start? Because I saw that there was a lack of fashion inclusion in the plus size fashion consulting space, right? Or there was a lack of diversity in the fashion consulting space. So now you can talk about if this was a lack of diversity, for example, you can talk about the number of fashion consultants that are minority versus the majority. But why is that a problem? Now you'd have to go deeper into why this is an issue and why this is beneficial if it is solved, okay? So why did you start your business would be the solution. Because once this is solved, this helps XYZ person, this provides this much profit, this helps the fashion industry in this quantifiable way. This allows the fashion industry to see this much return on investment. This allows maybe major retailers to have this much more influence. I don't know how you're going to quantify that because we'd have to talk a little bit more, which is why I wanted to try to help someone do this one-on-one. But you'd have to quantify whatever problem and solution answer you're giving to why you started. Make sure that the problem that you're talking about, you're also talking about how large the problem is. Name that problem. And then when you're talking about the solution, you're going to talk about the impact that the solution has. All right. So we quantify everything, always quantifying. This is called market research. And market research is a function of just going online and looking up information about your industry. So you would look up, for example, if I was looking up fashion consulting, I have to think. Let's say fashion consulting, diversity, and inclusion, right? So I would probably go to something called Grandview, which is one site, or Statista, which is another site, and I would look up, or maybe even Google, market research on fashion consulting and see what comes up, all right? I would want to know the compound annual growth rate for this segment of the industry, all right? I would want to know the market value of this industry. I would want to know the consumer value of this industry. So that means for every consumer that is in this industry, typically how much they spend or what their value is. Those are certain things, pieces of information that I would want to know, because when you're trying to quantify this is how you're going to articulate that. All right. All right. Any questions about that before we move on? Because there's a lot more that could be said, but I want to make sure that we understand how we're positioning that with the problem solution and the details that you're going into. And to be honest, even if you want to simplify it a little bit, you could just say something along the line of, you could talk about your audience too. You could say, why did you start your business? Because you noticed that 18% of, and this is a fake number, I'm giving you an example. You can say that 18% of plus size women, or 18% of this industry or market experiences lack of accessibility to fashionable clothing, and that you wanted to widen that number to 40% by presenting whatever it is that you offer as a solution, right? So you can quantify it that way by bringing your audience into it. It could have been an observation that you've made. It could have been something that you experienced. It could have been something that you where you worked. It could have been a number of things that kind of sparked you to want to either have this problem, like not have this problem, but you've had this problem and you're solving it, or something that you've observed is a disparity or non-inclusive, or whatever the case may be as far as you framing the problem. Any questions about that? Are we able to catch this live later? Yes. So you can catch the live later, Strands of Serenity. There is a link in my bio that says live replays. There's 2 tiers. The first one, the smaller one, you can just watch if you want to. The other one allows you to watch. There's other templates, other insights in there that will help you along this process. And then if you also want us to review 3 applications a month, you can submit which applications you want and we'll review them for you within 72 hours. Are you able to watch this live later? Yes. Can I join in? Yes. So if you want to, you have to send me an invite to join the application. So not application. You have to send an invite for me to for us to be able to talk. So can I put in detail chart and show data? If you are writing a proposal, you can do that. But if you're doing just an application on here, I don't think this Amazon application would allow you to actually format it that way. But if this was a proposal or a business plan, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Okay, any questions on that before we go? And Shari, if you can join in, let me know. Let me see if I could actually invite you. No, it's not letting me do it. Okay. So Shari, I'll just wait for your invite, okay? Okay, so number 6. Well, before I say that, are we ready to move on? Are there any questions about number 5? Okay, so I'm assuming I didn't hear anything. I'm assuming that's no. All right. So what is your business mission or vision? All right. I don't like this question for a number of reasons. This is not about me, but I'm gonna just tell you why I don't like it, because I think they're one and the same, to be honest. So when I answer this question, I typically answer it in the sense of what I hope to see put out in the world, or what I hope to see our business be able to accomplish, all right? So for an example, let's pick one of the other industries. One of the other industries were, okay, so one of the other industries was hair care products, all right? So if you are a hair care product brand, you could say, let's say that your product, what your product does is that I'm gonna use this example because I did this with my daughter yesterday. Let's say that your product is like the best clarifier in the world, okay? Like it'll clean your scalp, it'll clean your strands, it'll pull all the product out. It's the best clarifier in the world, all right? And you think it is. and you want to build the best clarifier, because, and this is kind of tied to why you started, right? You want to build the best clarifier because you realize that clarifiers are literally mixed with a lot of harsh chemicals, or they really don't get the job done, or you can find, or maybe they're so harsh that your hair breaks, or that they're not really cleaning your scalp the way they're supposed to. So that your vision is that people will be educated about clarifiers, and that you are hoping that everyone walks away with the cleanest scalp, free of debris, and that they are walking away with like healthy scalps, and that they are using natural, chemical free products that are not stripping their hair, right? Now, I said a lot, granted, right? But your vision is what your product is offering, what you offer as a solution to the problem of why you started earlier. You're pretty much going to double down on what you hope to see for your audience in the future, in like in a more exaggerated, expanded way, right? So your mission is to see all hair types using products that are non-harmful. And I'm now simplifying this, okay? But there's a lot of different things that you could do to kind of express what it is that you want to see for your consumer, or you want to see all hair types represented. If I was in a cosmetic, or let's use Tarte. Or you want to see all complexions represented if you were in a cosmetic space, right? This is kind of like the overarching thing that you want to see represented for your brand and for your offering, but from the consumer's lens. So your mission is, first of all, we're all consumer based, all of us, because we're serving someone, right? So what is your product or service doing, and what is your vision for it? What do you hope to see it accomplish? What do you hope to see it do? Thank you, ladies. So what do you hope to see it do? What do you hope to see it accomplish, right? That is what your mission or your vision is. The mission, I guess if you were to frame the mission, you could say something along the lines of that your mission is to get to the vision, like what you are actually doing now actively and proactively to get to be able to see that end goal. But honestly, I think they're one and the same. You could really just position it so that they're both working symbiotically. So remember, they said to try to keep it close to 200 characters or words? Characters. So just kind of keep that in mind, all right? Any questions about that before we move on? What keywords used to stand out in my industry? Good question. It really does depend, and I'm not trying to be funny. It really does depend on a couple different things. It depends on your product, your offering, what benefit you offer to your consumer, how you differentiate is what I would need to know for real to answer that question, right? Because the cleaning industry is very vague. I would need to know a lot of different things. Who are you cleaning for? Are you cleaning on the commercial side? Are you cleaning on the residential side? What products are you using? Are you worried about sustainability? Are you worried about the environment? Are you, yeah, it's just, when I say I'm not trying to be funny, there's a lot of different things I would really want to know. And what sets you apart in the cleaning industry, right? And that's what I would really need to know to be able to kind of give you some punchy, impactful words that will get attention. So that's why I do encourage you guys to get that higher tier if you are going to be replaying this, and let me review the applications for you before you submit them. Because I can tell you, maybe they use this word instead, right? And these are all suggestions. Use these words instead. Let's frame this way, and we can see how that would work out better, right? Or this will be more impactful. Or let's phrase this way. Or I'm not clear on this. Let's do that instead. Or what do you mean by this, right? And sorry about all the sniffles. I'm still like kind of a little under the weather. So yeah, so that's what I would do. Cleaning across the board, residential and commercial. And what sets you apart, right? So what are you doing differently that kind of sets you apart from any other cleaning company that does the same exact thing, right? Because that's the next question, which is a perfect segue into question number 7. So remember earlier it said that they're going to be judging you and the evaluating some questions weighting more than others. I'm going to tell you right now, I know questions 7, 8, and 9 are going to be way more weighted than questions 5, 6, and 10. I know that because what they want to know in question 7 is how does your business innovate and add value to your customers? Right? What are you doing differently? And how do you add value to your customers? What they want to know with this question, when they say innovate, I don't want you to ever think technology. I don't ever want you to think that this has to be something that has to be like so phenomenal that it's like going to change or revolutionize the world, right? All I need to know is how you're going to save the consumer time, money, effort, something that you are doing that someone else cannot do or someone else is not doing, right? So for example, I use the lash company as an example a lot before we uploaded that video about the AI doing it, right? That's the new innovation. But if someone so when you get a new lash set, right, a brand new lash set, you literally have to sit on that table for 2 hours, okay? If you, as a lash tech, can find a technique that will get that person to go from sitting on that table from 2 hours to 30 minutes, you've innovated. You're doing something new, all right? So it's a new technique. It's just a new method. So even just to something that you're doing differently, that's allowing you to do something faster, easier, more efficiently, more cost effectively, anything. That's an innovation. So I don't want you to think of it. And I'm not saying, I don't want to, if you're in the cosmetic space, I'm not trying to trivialize what you're doing in any way. But if you can do something, even tweak it, and it saves someone 40% more money, 40% more time, anything, that is a innovation, all right? So how does your business do that? How does your business change or improve on something in any way? How are you innovating? That's one thing. Or adding value to your customer. So now this is where it gets interesting, because adding value could be a function of maybe everyone's doing things the same way, but now you're adding something that the consumer wants that will make them want to work with you, right? So what could that be? Like, for example, let's say, let's use a lash example. Let's say whenever someone comes in, you're not innovating. It still takes 2 hours to get your lashes done. You come in, but the added value now is the experience that they have, okay? So they come in, they get a hot towel, they get a glass of champagne, they can come in, they have Wi-Fi, they get a cup of coffee. There's an experience that kind of enhances the customer's time, so that even though they might feel like there's a loss of time with the 2 hours, they get to maximize that time in a different way. Maybe like you found a way to set up the table so that they can be on their laptops at the same time that they're getting lashes done, something, right? Like, so you're not necessarily taking away as far as the time is concerned or innovating in that way, but maybe you're adding something that can improve on that consumer's time, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Let me sound off with me about if that makes sense or not. Okay, awesome. So, and now I want you to look at your business, right? If you haven't considered this, think about where you can actually improve on, if you haven't, or if you can, or add value in some way. And what is the takeaway for that client by adding the value? Because remember, we are going to be quantifying everything. Because if I say that I add this value, how do I know that it adds the value? And remember, and well, not remember, because if you're new here, then you wouldn't know this. But for those who have heard this before, we know that we're never going to be competing on price. So we have to compete on value. So if we're going to be competing on value, we have to know how that's actually going to be valuable to the client. Is it going to increase their loyalty to us, right? Because if it is going to increase their loyalty to us, then that changes a lot of different things. That makes them want to stay with us. And then also remember that it's very difficult to move a consumer from something that they love and trust already to be able to move them to something new. So with that consideration, you have to remember that the value add is super important if you're going to be adding value or innovating. So this is why this question I know is going to be very important to them. All right. I improve their image and show them how to, Shari, finish that sentence for me, dear. Is this service area only? I'm looking for grants of money for resident art. I don't know if there are now because I just updated it yesterday, but the last update, there were some like art and more creative based grants on there as well. But I would say apply anyway. Love that. Yes, thanks. Okay. I need to consider how to integrate this. Okay. I really need to connect to on a personal because this year I need to go big. I understand. Do we say how our client value it, or are we basing it on the client own feedback? So we're going to be, we can use both, to be honest. So the question is, when you're talking about adding value, do we say how our clients value the ad, or are we basing it on the client's feedback? You can do both. I would say, let's say, okay, so I don't want to butcher your name. I'm just going to say Boss Up, okay? Let's say, because Boss Up's asking about value adding, right? For example, let's say I'm not sure about the value that I can add to my customers. First thing you do, if you have an email list, you immediately, and when I say immediately, get off of live right now, go to your email list. I need you to go send your consumers an email and ask them, hey, this is what we offer. What else do you need? Leave a little box, okay? Let them type in as many characters as they want and just tell them, how can we best serve you? All right? And then you're going to aggregate all those answers and find the answers that are the most relevant. There's your value add right there. Next, maybe add another question. How much would you be willing to pay for that? Let's say, for example, I did this on live not too long ago. I asked you guys how much value, what can I do to add value to these lives, right? Or if I were to formalize trainings, how can I formalize them? What would you want to know? So I think it was Dr. AJ, if I'm correct. I think Dr. AJ, if you're here, let me know if it was you that said it. Dr. AJ asked, for the grants that you won, would you be willing to share the videos or applications or anything that you submitted? I said, sure, right? That's no problem. If that's and other people agreed. So if that's a value add to her, who am I to tell her that she can't add that? That's not a value to her. I also, okay, it was you. So if there are other things that I can do for my consumer, of course I'm going to protect myself in my business. And I mentioned that, but that is valuable to the consumer. So if I was selling that idea to Amazon, I would say to Amazon, I'm preparing a course for my base. They said, because they told me they want this because this is going to be valuable to them to be able to see this example. Who's Amazon to tell me it's not? This is what they said they want, right? So that's that. So you can poll your consumer, or if it's something that's more general that can just add value in a greater sense, then you can determine that for yourself, right? For example, let's say your insurance company says to you, hey, we're going to raise your insurance rate by 10%, but for but here's what we'll do in order to kind of offset that price for you. We're going to attach a machine to your car, and for every 10 miles you drive, we'll give you a gas credit for $1. You wouldn't take up that value, right? So like, that's what you can, that's how they could add value. Did they ask you about it? No. They just told you, here's how we can add value to you, but you would deem that valuable because gas prices are high. Right? So that's how you can kind of go back and forth with your consumer. You could just determine, hey, I need to up level my prices. Very fair. I need to up level my prices. So I'm going to form a strategic partnership with another brand who's adjacent to me, who's not competing with me, a gas company, and also a company that can create the mechanism for me to be able to track the mileage, which technically I'm working into the cost of me now integrating it into the cars. Obviously, right? So I'm going to charge you more. I'm accounting for the charge for the insurance, into the insurance upcharge, and then I'm also going to strategically partner with an with a gas company that is not going to make more business. Obviously, get more business because you're not, for every 10 miles. Let's say you drove 30 miles. That's only $3. I said $1, right? Yeah, $3, right? You're gonna spend more than $3 in gas at the store. So and even if you said you have to use it at Shell, I'm gonna market it as, and you get to get gas at the largest retailer in the United States. And let's say they're large. I don't know if this is true or not, but let's say the largest retailer is Shell. So now every time you go to Shell, this guarantees business for Shell. That is the value add to the customer. Do we see that? Do we get that? So you don't have to necessarily just do it with your customer. You can poll them, or you can determine what would be valuable to them based on your already existing product. And that was just a random example that I just thought of out of the sky. All right. So those are examples. Any questions before we move on to number 8? Because I know I need you guys to, we have until the 21st to give this one in, right? 11:59 of the 21st. I need you guys to really sit with this question because I know they're going to weigh this one heavily. All right. So really sit with this one. How are you going to add value to your customer? And if you're not sure and there is a way to reach your customer, please ask them. All right? Create a survey, create a poll. What do you want? What do you need? How can I add more value to you? What would you be willing to pay for it? You understand? And then you might not be able to provide all the services, but maybe adding value might mean partnering with someone that might be able to help you do that. All right? All right. Can we move on to question number 8? Let me know. SurveyMonkey is free. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So Jackie mentioned, and I hope I said that right. Jackie mentioned using SurveyMonkey to poll your audience. All right. All right. Awesome. So number 8, another question that I know they're going to poll very heavily. How would receiving the grant help you? All right. So 8, we're going to remember, quantify everything. Quantifying means to be able to give a measurable answer. All right. We have to measure everything. You cannot manage what you cannot measure. All right. So in business, we measure everything. We have KPIs. That's called a key performance indicator. All right. So this is how we're going to measure how receiving the grants will help you. All right. If you do not already have a budget outlined, you need to have one. All right. Because what you need to do is look at if you do not have the funds, what timeline and what your budget and what your projections for the amount that you would make would look like if you don't have funds versus if you did have the funds. All right. Because those are going to be 2 very different numbers. And when you have those numbers, you'll be able to give a percentage difference, right? For example, let's say in scenario A, you say, if we do not have the grant funds, it would take us 3 years based on us trying to acquire either a loan or using our own net revenue or net income, all right, to be able to do it on our own. And then even when we do that, we're only able to realize $1 million. I'm going to use a whole number. All right. It's never going to be that perfect and tight. $1 million. We're only able to realize $1 million over 3 years. All right. But so you would be able to outline that. Now you're going to do somewhat of a comparative analysis, right? And say versus being able to apply grant funds, which would allow you to have a cash infusion that will allow you to upscale quicker. And then you'd be able to realize that $1 million in a year and a half, right? And then you'll be able to realize profits you'll be able to realize 3 million. You'll be able to 3x your, that million, or no, you'll be able to 3x, so 3 million within the 3 years, right? So clearly, if I phrase it that way, clearly receiving grant funds would be able to help me way quicker than me using my own net income, right? But you have to be able to know what those projections would be. And this is super important, especially if you're looking for like equipment or even a website. And I don't want you to think like this has to be something major. If you don't have a website yet and you're looking for somewhere where your customers need to come and they don't have somewhere they can come and buy from you, there's a difference. Not having a website versus having a website. So needing money to create a website and a place where your customers can come, that's going to make a difference. So for example, you would need to talk about building out a website, not having one, so 0 customers, 0 funds, versus applying a website, how much that would be, right? And then how having visibility will allow you to be able to capture, and you'd have to calculate or quantify in some way the amount of reach that you'll be able to have and the impact that having a website will be able to have on your business. All right. So it doesn't have to be something like, oh my gosh, I have 2 bars of soap now and I need to be able to make 20. If that's your situation, that's your situation. But even something as simple as not having somewhere where your customers can come is important. All right. Are we good on that answer? How would receiving the grant help you? Now you can answer this question a number of ways. If you do not, okay, good. So if you do not have that answer for the budgeting, right? Maybe you are still intimidated by it. All right. You can ask for help. I'm willing to help. There are plenty of links in my bio that can help you with that. All right. Just reach out. That's one. I'm going to offer my assistance. But if you do not want that option because it might not be cost possible for you right now, there are other options. If you want to kind of frame this, how would a grant help you? You can outline. So this grant is, okay, so there's different grant amounts. Pick a grant amount and then talk about the different options that you need to pay for the grant for, okay? You can do that as well. So you could say receiving funding or securing funding through Amazon Small Business Grant would allow Jackie to be able to access marketing capital, right? Marketing capital will allow our business to grow by 40%. And we've determined that it would allow our business to grow by 40% because we assessed, we've done an analysis of Facebook marketing campaigns, and based on a cash infusion of $4,000 into a Facebook marketing campaign, we realized that this would allow us to have a reach of X amount. This reach usually converts to this many people. That many people means this many clients. Our cost per bar of soap is this much money. This much money means this many clients. This would in turn allow us to realize a revenue of this much money in marketing, for marketing efforts. You see what I'm saying? So you could just do that for a breakdown in marketing if that's for marketing. So then I would make that a little bit more succinct because you only have 200 characters for real, right? So I would find a way to kind of just make that streamlined and then maybe put 1 or 2 things that you really, really, really need. Pick one of the funding amounts and kind of break it down for how receiving the grant would help you. You can do it that way too. I prefer A, but B is not bad either because it does still show that you know what you need the funds for. Okay. Okay. Very fair. Marketing capital is better than ads. Yes. Yes. Okay. Good. All right, so yeah, I know. So the fleshed out budget can be a little intimidating, you guys. But here's the thing, right? You have to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't care where you get that information from. Get it done. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if you YouTube it. I don't care if you Fiverr it. I don't care who you do it with. Make sure you do it and make sure you understand it. Okay. Free AI app for wording. I use it for work. Okay. Right. So, yeah, I would say you need to do it because it's you. All right. I don't want to start preaching on today's live. However, y'all gonna make me preach on here. There are, did you say flesh out? I did say flesh out. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? There is no instance. It is great for AI wording, but you have to know what you're talking about too, though. So I love AI. I'm a big proponent for AI. All right, like I believe it. I believe in it. Like I believe in my child. It's the future. I'm not against it in any way. However, it helps you augment what you already know. Okay, so if you're not really strong in this space, you might put yourself at a disadvantage if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know what you're doing. All right? Just to help you out with that. Again, I'm not telling you anything. It strengthens your already existing skill sets. All right? So for example, if I was in the fashion industry and I'm looking something on AI, if I'm not familiar with fashion, it's not really going to help me if it's not my strength. It'll inform me, it'll help, but it's not going to enhance something that doesn't already exist. So I would say use it for context, but still do more research and make sure you're using and doing the right things, all right? I just want to say that. But back to the money thing, right? Excuse me, the budget. Budgets, there's no existence in business ever, and maybe this is just my bias being like in a personal and professional finance person, but let me explain something. There's no instance ever in any way, shape, or form that you're not gonna need to understand this, okay? Like, if you don't grasp this now while you're not where you want to be financially yet, what happens when you make $1 million? It doesn't disappear. Okay. So we really need to get a handle on the basics. When I say basics, I mean like a budget is the basics. And I'm not saying basics as in like remedial. I mean like these are just the little things that we really need to know and really need to understand. Just and I really do encourage you guys whenever we formalize this to take it so that you can realize how simple it is. It's not easy, but it's simple. It's just a breakdown of what the costs are. It's simple math, like simple math. Adding, some places there's a little bit of fractions where you gotta grab some percentages, and there's a bunch of calculators online. All right, and then if push comes to shove, have someone review your work. But I need you to understand that this is a piece that you need to. Okay. Someone says my MBA is teaching me how important the financial document part is. Absolutely. Can't do it. You can't do this business stuff without it. And I want someone to back me up, right? You lost me at fractions. It's not that bad. I promise. I promise you it's not that bad. All right. You just need to get to the percentages. That's all. That's all we need. All right. For the live, it's not letting me. Trying to get to the grant list for the live, but it's not letting me. So you will have to go to the link in my bio. I think you have to get out of here and then go to the link in my bio for the list, okay? I use it for my resume, but I have really hard work with it to get what I wanted. All right. Somebody said you lost me at fractions. That's funny, but I need somebody to back me up on this. Every single app, if you've been through these applications with me, every single application that we have done has asked what we're going to do with the money. Every one. Every single one. There's no one application that has not mentioned what are you going to do receiving the funds or for a breakdown of how the funds are going to be used in some way. So the financials are important. That should let you know that alone. Like that piece of insight should let you know that alone. Thank you, Dr. AJ. So literally, you cannot ignore it. We can't, right? So we can talk about it more on another time, but you can choose those two. All right. I just wanted to go into that brief spiel because of that. But you can pick those two. You can do the first way where you briefly talk about your projections and kind of do the comparative analysis and apply the funds versus not applying the funds. And then you could do it the second way if you don't have a budget yet. Or you could do it the other way where you're talking about how the funds would be used and then quantify how that would impact your business. Okay. And I want to move on because we're already at 1:00. Someone said facts. They are not pouring money down a black hole of vibes. It's every single one. I agree. No one is going to pour 20, 30, 50, $100,000 into a business when you don't know money. They're not. I promise you that. You also mentioned to share it even if they don't ask. Absolutely. Yeah, the last time we did an application, they didn't really ask about it in the most direct terms. And they said, is there anything else you want to know? That's the one thing that we mentioned. Hey, by the way, this is exactly what we would do with the funds. All right. Because you didn't really ask me that, but here's what we would do. Just to let you know. Right. So that's what we definitely have to mention that for ourselves. Right. All right, so then number 9 is, what is a large problem your company faced and how did you persevere? This is also important because they want to know, do you have the skills? Do you have the mindset? Do you have the tenacity? Do you have the fortitude? Do you have the resilience to operate as an entrepreneur? All right, so I need you to think of some soft skills that you have. I need you to think of some hard skills that you have. Did anybody else lose sound? Okay. Diamond, you might need to come in and out, okay? All right, so what is a problem your company faced? They want to know how you persevered, right? So these problems that you're talking about, they're not asking you like, anything about like really your, like maybe your, and this is, again, I'm not trying to trivialize any of this, okay? I just need you to understand things for context, all right? They don't want to know like, oh, your mom died and then you couldn't run your business for 3 months. No. That's not what they're asking you, right? They're saying in your business, let's say you had a customer service issue. Let's use Tarte is relevant right now, so let's just use them for example, right? Let's say this question was targeted at Tarte, and they're asking because Tarte is having a really large issue right now with PR. All right, how did they persevere? Who knows how they're going to come out of this? But if you had a similar issue, how would you deal with that? Is what they're asking. So I would say, if I were them, I would say something along the lines of, in year XYZ of owning this company, we face a public relations issue that caused us to have a negative perception in the media and led to a large section of the cosmetics industry believing that we were not an inclusive brand, right? That's the problem that they are facing. That they're being called out for a lack of inclusion. They're being called out for racism and prejudice, right? So that's how I frame that. How did you persevere is the answer to how you solve this problem. So you could, and I would hope, I pray, that they would solve this problem by actually doing actionable things. So this is how you would talk about that. If you had a similar issue, you could talk about actionable things that you did, talking about initiatives that you created. If it was a customer service issue, how you were able to please the customer. If it was a financial issue, how you were able to make those ends meet. If it was a product issue, and product issues are not absurd, especially during the pandemic, right? A lot of us were having issues with not being able to fulfill because of supply chain issues. So let's say that there was a supply chain issue. How did you make those ends meet? How were you creative? How did you kind of get around that, right? That's a problem that you faced, supply chain issue. How did you persevere? The solution, the creative solution that you had. So this is something that they want to know that you're, and I would maybe even introduce timelines, because they might want to know how quickly you were able to pivot and how quickly you were able to address the issue. All right. This lets them know that you have the fortitude. Excuse me. This lets them know that you have the fortitude and the skills that it takes to traverse issues. Excuse me. I need to get over this cold immediately, right? All right. So now we need to talk about any questions about that before we move on to number 10, because we're running a smidge behind. Smidge. Any questions before we move on to 10? Yes, no, maybe so. No, okay. Number 10, how does your business give back to the community? So this answer you really have to answer this question for real, but this question can go in a number of ways. Do you serve your community by creating initiatives? Do you give events? Do you partner with other businesses? Do you host, are you part of an organization that also serves your audience or your customer base? These are things that they want to know. Do you have, maybe you donate certain things, all right? This could be a number of things that you do that are aligned. Just make sure that when you're answering this question, either things that you plan on doing or things that you're already doing, they align with the offering that you already offer. So for example, if you were in skincare, and you particularly cater to women, I would say that you could talk about how you plan on partnering with women's shelters, right, to offer your product or offer your service. That would be a community-based thing, right? So something along those lines, okay? What is the industry of your business? So there's a drop down. There's a ton of options. Just pick the overarching industry, okay? Number 12, what can we do to let other businesses like yours know about Amazon business? I don't know what they want to know here. I don't understand this question. What can we do to let other businesses like yours know about Amazon business? Promote across social media, I guess. I don't know. That's how we kind of found out about it. All right. I'm not really sure how to answer number 12, to be honest with y'all, because it's really Amazon trying to solicit their own stuff. So I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. Number 13, can you explain how your business interacts with or uses Amazon services other than your use of Amazon business as a customer? This is interesting because, again, they're asking specifically about, yeah, that's true. So Dr. AJ said you can say partner with us. That's very true. You can mention that. Maybe ask them for partnerships. So number 13 says, can you explain how your business interacts with or uses any Amazon services other than your use of Amazon business as a customer? If you want, I'm gonna leave you with that answer too. All right. Someone answered, maybe make social media showcasing Amazon. That would be a good idea as well. And that was, they could use Amazon to market their products and offer discount if they use it. That's also a good answer. Maybe you can say an affiliate to provide the answer they seek. That's funny. I like that. All right. Affiliate marketing, is that what they're asking? Not necessarily. I don't think they have a specific answer they're looking for, but that could be an option. All right, so awesome. So number 14 is asking to enter your Amazon business ID, which will be found when you open. Sorry, my phone just told me I'm on 20%. So let me go ahead and charge that. All right. All right, so last number, and now my phone just asked me to trust my computer. All right, so then number 14, go to your business profile and get your Amazon ID, put it in there. And then 15, if you don't have a trademark, don't worry about that. 16, if you don't have a trademark, don't worry about that. It's asking you to upload a photo of your brand's logo, all right? And they have dimension requirements, so please follow the dimension requirements, okay? All right, we're done. We're finished. That's that. All right, let's go to the other application so that we have something else to do before we go. We're going to go to the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. So this one, if you have it already, you were supposed to do like either 2 trainings, 2 courses, and the courses are small. Short. Like they're like less than an hour long. So if you haven't already done it, don't get intimidated by that. And there's like a bunch of different options. There's like communication strategies, growth marketing, minority-owned businesses certification, websites, selling, different things, right? But you had to do 2 of them in order to unlock the application. So if you haven't done that already, you will need to do that. So maybe you might have to catch a playback. If not, then you can just kind of take as many answers as you need to right now, all right? All right, so then let's talk about the terms and conditions for a second. Okay. These terms and conditions, I would say read them. All right, just go through them when you get a chance. But it's nothing crazy. They're just really asking about if you have multiple businesses, to pick the one that's the largest. They're asking you not to apply for multiple rounds. There's like a privacy thing here. There's a conflict of interest thing here, a publicity thing here, monitoring, because they are going to monitor your activity. All right. And then submission guidance. It says they cannot accept changes to your application. All right. So we're going to go to the next page. Are you completing this application as the leader of the business? Yes. And then it's going to ask for like demographic information. So we're going to put in our name. And then your email is going to be your business email. All right. If you have one, preferably. What is the best number to reach the business? Put in your business's phone number if you have one, preferably. Do you authorize this company to contact you at the business number above via? I would say no, because my business line does not get text messages. All right, so put in your website. It's asking about social media. I only put in LinkedIn. That's preferential because I think that is perceived as the most professional platform. But I would say that if you are going to use another platform, that is your prerogative. But use the platform that is for your business and is only used for business. Okay, don't use one that is like has your family and like other things on there. All right. Legal business name for 6.3. If you are doing business as anything else, put that as well. Primary business address, use your business address if that's applicable. Okay, alternative business information for number 7. Does the primary business address have above serve as a registered legal business address? So, like on the like when you fill out any tax forms or documents, is that the address that you use? Yes or no? Next page, it's a bunch of questions. What structure do you use? So when you incorporated your document, when you incorporated your business, excuse me, which one of these did you use? All right. If you did not use any of them, they give you an option to specify what it was. All right. How many years in business you are in, excuse me, is the next question for 9. Number 10, what was your business's gross revenue for the most recent calendar year? Before, and this is gross revenue. Oh, they're telling you what gross revenue is. Okay, so before expenses, all right? Most recent calendar year, all right. So most recent calendar year would mean 2022. So that means when you filed your 2022 taxes, as a business, what was your gross revenue? All right. Employment. To the best of your knowledge, how many full-time workers, including yourself, does your business currently employ at this time? If you work full-time in your business, you are one. All right. To the best of your knowledge, how many part-time? To the best of your knowledge, how many full-time workers do you anticipate retaining as a result of receiving the grants? To the best of your knowledge, part-time. To the best of your knowledge, how many... Actually, let me change this because this is two. To the best of your knowledge, how many full-time workers do you anticipate hiring as a result of receiving this grant? If you receive the grant. Didn't you just ask me that? Oh, retaining, hiring. Okay. All right. So this question is about hiring. The first one was about retaining. All right. All right. Primary industry, number 14. Pick the industry that is most relevant to you. I guess that's the one. All right, next, socioeconomic data, age. Really? You want to know how old I am? All right, age, number 16, your gender. 17, does the lead business owner identify as LGBTQ+. Does the lead business owner have a disability as defined by the Americans with Disabilities Act? 19, is the business lead owner a veteran? 20, is the lead business owner of Hispanic, Latino, or of Spanish origin? 21, what is the race of the lead business owner? 22, do you and your business identify as one of the following, where ownership is based on 51% ownership or more? All right. 23, are you a certified disability-owned, LGBTQ plus owned business enterprise, minority-owned, veteran-owned, and or woman-owned business enterprise where ownership is based on 51% ownership or more? Now, here's the buzzword, right? Certified. So certification is like a government process, right? So if you have not gone through the certification process, please put no for this one. All right. Certification is not just because you say that you are one of these things. All right. That's the actual certificate you received that you have to go through a process for. If you have not gone through that process, this is no. 22 would be any one of those that are relevant to you. If you identify as one of these things, so like you fit into one of these boxes, yes for 22. 23, you are not certified, no, if this is not relevant to you. All right. 23, if no, would you like to be certified in any of the following? Now they're giving you the options to talk about certification. All right. And if you are a woman and you're a minority, please click both. We're going to talk about more about that why later. Suggestion, not in order. But there are a lot of benefits to being certified. So if there's something that you want to do, look into it, revisit this application, but I would definitely highly suggest it, okay? Next page. By clicking below, please indicate this grant size is useful to your business at this time. 10,000 or below is the only option there. All right. So it would be useful to you if you're clicking that. What is the primary purpose of the grant request? Wages, inventory, past due bills, payables, other operational costs. So we're going to click other operational costs because we're going to please specify. There's 250 characters there. I would say because you're really limited to what you can answer. Excuse me. Since you are limited to what you can answer, pick the operational costs. And when it says operational costs, these are costs that you actually have to use within your business month to month. These are not like things that you need to grow. All right. This is not like I need new equipment necessarily. This could be like I need to pay my rent. I need marketing. I need to hire my employees. Those are operational costs, things that you're going to have to pay no matter what's going on in the world. All right. Pick the one thing that is stopping you from being able to move forward. Put that thing down. All right. Select the one that best describes your business location. I own a commercial property. I lease a commercial space for my business. Home based, mobile. If it's other, you can put e-commerce. Remote, if that's relevant to you. Sorry, I see why he was having a sound issue before because my volume went down. All right, so you can click remote if that's relevant to you. You can put 100% online, whatever. If it's just not any one of those, just kind of put something that fits into the remote or 100% online or fully remote or whatever that narrative is that you want to use. All right. 27, what is the best, to the best of your knowledge, how has your business revenue for the past month compared to the same time last year? Okay. Now here's the, hold on. I don't want this to happen again. Yeah, sorry about that. That was actually my fault because the thing I have my phone on, it slid down and then it lowered my volume on that side. So that was actually my fault. I was just going through some of the answers. The answers are mostly just kind of like selecting things. No problem, Jackie. We'll see you soon. So, they're mostly just selecting a couple things, but we just got down to question number 27, which is kind of a little bit more involved. So here's number 27 that's asking us, to the best of your knowledge, how has your business revenue for the past month compared to the same time last year? And it's asking you for a percentage for whether it's decreased and what percentage range is decreased, and if you know or whether you don't know or not. And here goes why you need a budget. All right. And now y'all really gonna make me drive this point home. Okay. I'm gonna be annoying about it. I just want you to know. I'm gonna be so annoying about it. Like so annoying. All right. Math. Yeah, math. I know. I hate it for all of us, but I'm really gonna be annoying about this. But here we are. So I don't know how you're going to quantify this answer, y'all, but we gotta know. Did it, and you really want to know, okay? Yeah. So that's all I have to say. How did you hear about this LISC business grant program? Dang, they don't give you any other option. All right, well, you can put word of mouth, I guess. All right, so general comments or any other information about you or your business that you would like to share with us. 1,000 characters. All right, great. So this is an opportunity for you to talk about yourself, your business, who you are in relation to the business. So you want to talk about your title, a little bit about your experience. You want to talk about who you serve, your product, your offering, the problem that you're solving. You want to talk about how your consumer is going to interact with your product. You want to talk about how you plan on innovating. If you have the space, please mention a little bit about statistics. Please include some data. Data is always helpful. This is a really good opportunity to do all of that, all right? Are you a man? I just want to know. And I'm not being offensive because it says diamond rooted man. And I don't know if it's cut off at the end, but that's why I'm asking. Okay. So, okay. Because I was going to say sir or ma'am. Oh, management. Okay, got you. The man part is the cutoff is the management. Okay. Okay, ma'am, please do not put that there, okay? Like, no, do not put that on that application. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, we're not doing that. All right, so thank you for your lightheartedness today. So Okay, so general comments or any other information you provide. I know it says general, but that's not what we're gonna do. We don't do that. We're professionals. We're going to talk about ourselves as far as like who we are, our title. We're gonna mention about the problems that we're solving, how we plan on innovating for our customers. Really good time to boast about yourself, right? They're giving you 1,000 characters to do that. Boom, boom. All right. I'm just going to type something in so I can get to the next page. But I'm going to go back through this. Please describe any ways you connect with your local community through your business. So community is important to them too, right? So we can revisit some of the answers that we gave through the last application. That's perfect. So we can talk about the same initiatives that you mentioned in the Amazon application. You can literally, I kid you not, copy, paste, which is why we hold the answers to the questions, because we don't have to keep writing the same narratives out every single time. Company name, Diamond Rooted Management intends on connecting with local community through initiatives such as, and list out the following: community outreach, high school teaching days, women programs, aligning with women programs, exclusively using community suppliers and vendors. There's so many different ways that you can reach out to the community. So just think about your product, think about your offering, and other people who could use it within community programs. They exist everywhere. So there's no shortage of that, trust me. All right. Just putting in something so I can get to the next page. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. So the next page is just a signature page. Oh, that was easy. All right. So this one's easy. So we have 30 minutes, y'all. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything you guys want to know? We're here for I could stay on till 2. So if you have anything you want to know, does anyone want to hop on? Do you want to kind of hash this out about your business, get clarity about your business? This is the time to do that, because otherwise, the name we just did is Verizon. What is it? I'm going to tell you. Verizon Small Business Digital Ready. All right. It's on the list. So grab that list so you'll have it. All right. Grab this time to do that, because otherwise, if you try to do it outside, I'm not telling you not to, but if you do it outside, you have to pay for the time. So if you want to do it now, this is a good time to do it now. Can you talk more about what to when you're doing market research? Okay. I'm assuming that meant what to look for when doing market research. All right. Good question. Let me pull up the proposal template. We can answer some of those market research questions. All right. Okay, so first thing you really need to do, I'm not. So this is going to be, so remember when Nikki, first of all, Nikki, thank you for coming back. And Nikki asked, are you going to share the proposal template? I'm not sharing it, just giving it away. So remember when we talked last time, I feel like it was the last time we were on live, when I asked you guys what you wanted, this is what we asked for. You guys asked for a way to formalize all of this information. You guys wanted me to tell you how to do follow-ups. You guys told me you wanted access to the proposals that I've done. You guys wanted, what else did you guys want? You wanted interviews with people who have done grant reviews. You guys told me that you wanted Q&As. You wanted feedback. That's what you guys told me you wanted. And no one told me what they were willing to pay for it. But we gonna work it out, all right? We're going to work it out. If anyone wants to tell me now what they'd be willing to pay for it, I just listed some of those things off. There's still a lot more that we said we wanted, right? So if anyone wants to say now what they'd be willing to pay for it, y'all let me know. But we can go through some of those things now, all right? All right, so market analysis, right? We're going to thoroughly describe our market and our industry, okay? That is a function of a couple of different things. There's a lot of pieces to that. We might not even really be able to get through all of it. Does anyone want to, not sure if my business fits your model. I'm a private practice therapist. Absolutely fits the model. There's really no business that doesn't. I'm gonna get right back to you, Dr. AJ. There really isn't business that doesn't, because I'm gonna tell you why. Because as long as there's an industry and as long as there's an objective, there is a way to assess that business. Every business can be assessed. There's no business that can't be assessed. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure why you believe that. I'm open to why you do, but I've actually worked with private practice therapists. So I'm not really sure why. It depends on, well, I guess it would depend on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to scale up? Because that's definitely doable. Okay, so someone says maybe do a pay what you can, but give the payment ranges. That's possible too. All right, so thoroughly describe your market or industry. Let's get to the point, right? So first of all, I'm not being funny when I say this, but you have to know what industry you're in. A lot of us are not in they don't know the right industry, right? So for example, if I'll ask someone, and there's not a judgment call, you don't know what you don't know, okay? That's that. I'll ask someone, hey, what industry you're in? And then they'll tell me personal care. No. Or they'll tell me skincare. No. That's a segment of the beauty industry, all right? So there's an overarching industry, and then there are segments. Excuse me. So you have to know what industry you're in to be able to get the right information. Point blank, period. All right? So in order to describe it, we have to know where we are. And then once we know where we are for real, then we have to know what segment we're in, because that's going to give us two very different pieces of information. The market, the industry will tell us all the different pieces that are going on. Who the biggest players are, how much they make, where they get the most money from, meaning like country. Like, for example, beauty, they'll tell you the biggest company. So now you know your competitor, right? So you can look at different pieces of information that way. So you need to know who your major competitor is. That's definitely probably one of the biggest part of market research, okay? Biggest part of, the other biggest part is risk, okay? Threats and challenges, because every single market has one or a set of those, right? So let's say, for example, let's do the fashion industry. Why not, right? Because I don't want you to always think that it's something more advanced than that, right? Let's look at the fashion industry. We rely very heavily on other countries to produce clothing for us, okay? So if I wanted to start a fashion brand right now, and I wanted to position it as an American-made brand, I would have a very hard time with that. And here's what my challenge would be: the cost, okay? Because producing fabrics, producing clothing, textiles, anything in the United States are going to cost more. So that means it's going to cost my consumer more, right? That means I have to charge more. That's a challenge, because now I have to increase the perceived value of said clothing because I now have to make it as to where my client or my consumer or my base wants to buy it at that price point. And my only marketing point can't be that it's American made. There's going to be some like purebred American that's going to be really happy about that. But, and then what, right? I'm going to have a lot of differentiation in order to really make that stand out in the marketing from a branding perspective. Okay. Does that make sense? As far as like a challenge in that industry. Okay. Another challenge that I might have in that industry as well is the fact that there might not, depending on the kind of clothing that I'm making, there might not even be the people who have the skill set to do it, right? So for example, let's say I wanted like a luxury brand that rivals with Louis Vuitton. Let's say Louis Vuitton is my direct competitor, but I want it to be American made. Louis Vuitton has like craftsmen who learn for years how to make like certain kind of shoes and certain kind of bags, and like how they produce their actual materials. Are there people in the United States that have that same skill and acumen? That would be a challenge. All right. So those are kind of things that I would have to look at. And then when I'm looking at my competitor, I need to know what risks there are in doing business against them. All right. Because, for example, in the example of like fashion, Louis Vuitton has something I don't. First of all, this fictitious fashion brand I'm talking about doesn't even exist yet, right? We're just speaking hypothetically. But let's say I really did want to go toe to toe with Louis Vuitton. The one risk that I'm running is the fact that I have no industry experience. They are a tenured brand. They're a legacy brand. They already have visibility. They have recognition. They have bazillions of dollars working for them. So like there's a lot of things that I'm risking by going into direct competition with them, because I know nothing about this industry, right? So that's a big risk. And then on top of that, they have a lot of industry like knowledge that they can use to their advantage that I don't. Okay. They have the dollars to back them up. They have money to look into this stuff that I would not be able to compete with them. Right. I would just have to really go off of just vibes and a great sense of style and hope that my consumer base appreciates those things. Right. So those are some things that I would definitely be looking for when I'm doing market research. And then you're looking for other pieces of information like how big the industry really is, right? And we look at it from a dollar amount, but the dollars don't matter as much as when you see, for example, an industry and it says that that the market size is like $200 billion. That tells me, yes, that's the market's value. I get it. Like that's how big it is. But it also tells me how many people really have this problem, right? Because there's so many people that are experiencing this that there is $200 billion in this industry, right? And or that there are $200 billion worth of opportunities here, okay? That's more important to me than the dollar amount. Because the dollar amount is really just a reflection of the values that are being expressed within that market and where we can find opportunities as well. So that's something I would look for. And then also maybe a little bit more about how much the average consumer spends within that market. Because it's going to look very differently between, like, for example, that's going to look very different between like cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. I would expect that pharmaceuticals is way higher because it's more profitable to be sick than beautiful, which sounds sick as I'm hearing myself say that. But if you think about it from that standpoint, you have like diabetic medication. There's like chemotherapy. There's high blood pressure medication. There's like chronic lifelong medication that people take. So I'm expecting that the opportunities within that industry would be way more abundant than someone who's looking for makeup. You understand what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm talking about from that standpoint. That's where there would be a huge difference between actual market accessibility, like how much people, like how much one person is worth in that market. So that's definitely something I would look at too. Any questions about that before I start talking about other things? Okay, good. Any other questions about that? We have like 15 more minutes. Okay. So another thing I would talk about or look at is like how rapidly and how much the industry is projected to grow. All right. So most industries, when you're doing market research, most, and when I say most, I mean like really all, have what's called a CAGR, which is compound annual growth rate. All right. When you're looking at that compound annual growth rate, it's usually a value that's expressed as a percentage, and it tells you over a certain period of time. That range varies, usually anywhere, I've seen it anywhere between like 3 to 7 years, right? They'll tell you in the CAGR for the cosmetics industry is expected to be 2.6% between 2023 and 2027. Okay. That's important to know because it tells me a couple of things, right? How fast is this market growing? Because 2.6% in like the cosmetics industry is actually pretty big, right? But then in the pharmaceuticals industry, I'm assuming that number is going to be slightly higher, right? Maybe like, and I'm guessing, I don't know the real number, maybe somewhere in the like 20s, okay? But if I see an industry where the CAGR is like 50%, I'm like, wait, hold up. I want to know what's going on here. And even though I might not want to start a business in that space, I might want to invest, right? So I maybe want to look for new people entering the market, but that might also be a threat. Okay, so you got to look at it from multiple vantage points. That might be a threat to you because if it's expected to grow that quickly, that means that there might be a lot of new people coming into the market, and that means a lot of new competitors for you. All right. So smaller and steadier growth is not necessarily a good thing either, because that might mean that there are traditional ways of doing things and that there are a lot of gatekeepers, and that's why it's so small, and that's why it doesn't grow as rapidly. Or maybe there's not a lot of room for innovation. That could be a possibility too. I'm not saying that's always the case, but that might be a way to look at that. So when I'm saying that you really have to be open to innovation as far as like how you're doing things, and you're looking at this and you're really like hashing out these numbers, when you're doing your budgeting and projections, why you need to know the numbers is because you're going to be talking about all of these pieces of data in relation to how you're going to capture some of that. All right. So you're going to say the CAGR is this much. This is currently what the market's valued at in this industry. And then we expect it to grow over this much in the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years or whatever. And then we're going to capture 2% of that, which is this much money. And that's how much we expect to make based on this or based on whatever. And you have to talk about what the basis is. So that's why you have to know your numbers too, right? Because I just spit out a lot of data at you that are all driven by numbers, all of it. So when I formalize this, that's my goal, is for you to be able to go through that exercise of being able to put, my brain hurts. No, what is your name, Diamond Rooted Management? Please tell me your first name, so when you come back, I could call you out by name. I need you guys to understand this. I'm going to put this in the, and I've done this training several times, 4 times at least, 4 or 5 times at least. And every time we go through it, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. Nolita. Okay, Nolita, girl. Okay, listen, I promise you one thing, all right? Yeah, they are. They really are. So, again, I don't want to mess up your name again, so I'm just going to say Boss Up. Boss Up, underscore Boss Up said, this is important. I was unaware that these things are considered. All of these things are considered, okay? So this is what I mean when I say that we're not running our businesses as efficiently as we can because we don't know what we're doing for real, right? Like we don't know this information. So when I formalize this and I put this, wrap it up in a nice little bow, I cannot promise anything other than this, Nolita, that you will walk away more informed, more empowered. Your head might hurt a little bit, just a little bit. However, you will be able to articulate this in a real, tangible way that when you're applying for these grants, they're scary, but they are insightful. But this is also why I love it. Kalia. Okay, got you. Thank you. Thank you so much. No problem. But what I do promise you guys is that when this is formalized, you'll be able to understand this in a real tangible way, and you'll be able to walk away from that training, understanding why we answer the grant questions the way we do, right? And then you'll be able to answer them from a way more empowered position. Like you'll be answering these questions like, okay, well, even when you're doing your video scripts, you can be like, my name is Natalie, and I'm part of an industry that has an expected CAGR of blah, 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 2%. And you'll be spitting out these numbers like it's nothing, but you'll be more empowered because you understand what's going on. And even when you're outlining your business and your budgets, you'll be doing it from a way more educated and empowered. Information is empowerment. That's all. Right? And then it'll increase your chances of winning because now that you know this, these funders and awarders will know, oh, wait, this girl knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. All right. Now we got to put some power. We got to put some muscle behind her. That's the whole goal, to get these people to look at your application and realize, oh, wait, she knows her industry. She knows what she's talking about. Oh, she knows the market. She knows her consumer. She understands the problem that she's solving. That's what sets you apart. I can't, and again, I've said this I feel like almost every live that we've been on so far. I cannot guarantee you are going to win. And I'm not going to ever tell you that. But this information is going to set you apart from other people. Because I promise you, the person who's putting this versus the person who's not, night and day. So that's what I got for y'all. I appreciate you guys. It's my pleasure, like my distinct pleasure to serve in this way. I want you guys to use me as a resource. If you need support, the links are all in the bio. I tell you guys, if you guys are cost sensitive, because I understand your new businesses, you might be averse to spending money out of your business for now. Use the lives as time to ask questions and to get your needs met. Okay. So I'm going to go now because I think we're good now, right? I think so. I'm assuming. If we're not, there's like 7 minutes left. But 6 minutes left. But yeah. Otherwise, there's links in my bio. You know how to reach me. The playback, like the replay, will be available later on today. And then let me see what I can include for this. Thank you. Thank you, Nolita. Make sure that you're staying on top of your applications, all right? There was some deadlines through the weekend, actually. So make sure make sure you're staying. I need this cold to go. Release yourself from my body. I need you guys to stay on top of your applications, like literally list them out, put the dates, when they're due. stay on top of everything. I'm trying to think of what else I could tell you guys. If you haven't already signed up, get these applications done. This Verizon one was easy, so please just do this one. Just like sit. Honestly, like I just kind of sat through a training with like it was background noise. I was kind of working on other things. It was background noise. So they're short. They're not really that long. I got it done in a day and then unlock the application. And then the other one, you really, once you get the Amazon business account, you don't even have to have a Prime account. You just have to have that business account and you'll be fine. So that's it, ladies. If that's it for me, if that's it for you guys, that's it for me. So I'm going to go. You guys be great. And the next time we're going to go live is on Friday, okay? No Tuesday, no Wednesday, no Thursday, but Friday. All right, so I will see you guys then. You have a blessed day, and I'll see you Friday. All right? Have a good one.